Welcome to Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
It's the Then versus Now Challenge!
Welcome back to the Scrapyard, friends, for part 4 of round 1 of the Then vs. Now Challenge, where we're continuing to race classic cars versus their modern-day counterparts.
That's right, we're here for the final 2 races, so why don't you tell us what they are?
Race 7 is the 69 Camaro SS versus the 2017 Camaro ZL1. And our last race in round 1 is the 71 Ford Maverick versus the 2016 Ford Focus RS.
And these 2 races are big, because they will decide the final 2 spots for the quarterfinal round. And here's a quick look at those race rules. 3 heats per race, blah 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 blah. If you've been following this far, then you probably already know all this.
And let's not forget, Team Then and Team Now are also competing for an overall team trophy.
Yeah, and Team Then has a lot of catching up to do. They really need a win today if they hope of having any chance at the team trophy. And with that, here's a quick look at the tournament rules.
And keep in mind the bonus event race at the end, facing last year's champ for the title of greatest car in history.
Is that what we're calling it now?
It is, until we can think of something that sounds even more impactful.
Okay, well then let's get a move on and learn a little bit more about the cars in race 7.
Representing Team Then, we have the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro SS. The Camaro SS 396 to be exact, which comes equipped with a turbojet Mark IV big block L78 engine with the L89 aluminum heads, producing an impressive 375 horsepower. All this is paired to a 3-speed manual transmission. There were only 311 of these cars made. This is one rare collector's car, so let's hope this driver knows what he's doing.
Representing Team Now, we have the 2017 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. This car has a supercharged and intercooled pushrod 16-valve 376 cubic inch 6.1 liter V8 with aluminum block and heads, direct fuel injection, all connected to a 10-speed transmission. Man, and I thought only bicycles had that many speeds. All that put together gets you a colossal 650 horsepower and 650 pounds of torque, plus a 3.4 second 0 to 60 time and a quarter mile that zips by in just 11 and a half seconds.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Looks like the officials are just as excited to get today's event started, and they've already cleared the track.
In lane 1, it's the 1969 Camaro SS, and in lane 2, it's the 2017 Camaro ZL1.
3, 2, 1, go!
It's the ZL1 off the line.
The 69 barrel rolls!
And he slides his way across the line.
He's upside down! So you know what that means.
I reckon I haven't seen griddle cakes flipped as much as those flapjacks on Team Then.
Please, we're supposed to be impartial commentators.
How can I be impartial? These Team Then fellas have been giving me so much overtime, I'm gonna be rich.
Yeah, you'll be able to retire the yellow jacket and buy yourself a brand new AH1 Super Cobra.
Cobra? Where's Cobra? Yo!
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
You can see the ZL1 rip off the line as soon as that gate goes up.
And he's a full car length ahead for the length of the downhill.
And desperately trying to catch up, the 69 loses it at the transition of the downhill.
He doesn't just lose it, he loses it in breathtaking fashion. He barrel rolls and slides the full length of the straight all the way across the line.
A second place on your roof is definitely better than a DNF.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Well, the ZL1 just rocketed himself on the scoreboard with today's first win.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Well, it looks like the officials have swept up all that roof paint and cleared us for Heat 2.
We have the obligatory lane change in this heat with the 2017 Camaro ZL1 in lane 1 and the 1969 Camaro SS in lane 2.
3, 2, 1, go!
They're even.
ZL1 comes in.
The 69 barrel rolls hard. What's all that racket, Bob?
I'm checking to see if I got a fork in my toolbox.
A fork? For what?
A fork so's I could stick it in that there Camaro, 'cause he's done.
Can you see the driver? How's he doing?
It looks like he's sitting stiller than a desert trooper in the hot sun.
What does that even mean?
Don't you worry about it none. Me and the old yellow jacket will get that fella to the hospital plumb quick.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
You could see the ZL1 rip off the line as soon as that gate goes up.
And right at the transition of the downhill, the ZL1 goes in for the block.
The 69 tries to steer around him, but his car is already in the air, and at that point his attempts are totally fruitless.
But when he hits the ground with his tires turned like that, it causes him to go into the wall hard.
And that impact is so ruthless it sends him flying through the air backwards, almost to the opposite side of the track.
Meanwhile, the ZL1 centers up and just hauls down the track.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Well, fans, with the yellow jacket flying its way to the hospital with the driver of the 69 Camaro, I'm guessing since the ZL1 already won 2 out of 3 heats, there really isn't a reason to continue with Heat 3.
Hello? Yes?
What? What is it?
I'm on with the studio. They said the rules clearly say each race is 3 heats. Team then has to find a substitute to finish the race, or they run the risk of forfeiting the tournament.
What? They can't just throw that on us like that. They must know that each of these heats takes months of planning the races the spectators.
Well, fans, we're back. And as totally planned, do we have a surprise for you?
Yes, since the 1969 Camaro SS is unable to finish his race, Team then requested to send in a member of their own team to take his place. And they selected...
Well, when you say selected, more like the driver practically fell all over himself to volunteer. It's the 1972 Nissan Skyline HT 2000 GTX. This guy suffered such an embarrassing shutout defeat in race 4 at the hands or wheels of the 2017 Nissan Skyline GTR R35. He's looking for any excuse to save a little face and put at least one win on the scorecard. And look at this! The boys in the graphics department even came up with a special stand-in standing scorecard just for him.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Oh wow, this is so unheard of. This is gonna be great.
In lane 1, it's the 1972 Nissan Skyline HT 2000 GTX. And in lane 2, it's the 2017 Camaro ZL1.
3, 2, 1, go!
ZL1 goes for the block. He has a blowout. It's all over. The HT wins.
Unbelievable! Do you believe in miracles?
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Wow, I'm still shocked at what we just saw.
It's never expecting the unexpected that makes Scrapyard Racing so great.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Look how clean they both get off the line. Where was this HT in race 4?
The ZL1 sees they're even, so he immediately tries to block.
But it goes wrong at the transition of the downhill. He hits hard and has a blowout.
Meanwhile, the HT's concentration is 100% locked in. He sees the ZL1 lose it and never takes his eyes off the finish line.
You're telling me he was laser beamed straight down the whole length of the track. Had he shown up like this on the day of race 4, he would have given the R35 some competition.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Amazingly, the HT becomes the first car in Scrapyard history to be shut out yet still walk away with a win. Incredible.
It's wild because Team Then really needed a win, and they finally got such an important one, but it doesn't even count. But maybe this is the shot of morale this team needed. Well, here we are, fans, the final race of round 1. This race will determine who gets that final spot in the quarterfinals, and it's the final chance Team Then has for the overall team trophy. But before we race, let's learn a little more about each car.
Representing Team Then, we have the 1971 Ford Maverick 250 Cruise-O-Matic. On paper, this car definitely appears to be the underdog for Team Then, with only a 4-liter 249 cubic inch V6 churning out a paltry 145 horsepower and 147 pounds of torque. But if this competition has taught us anything, sometimes it isn't about horsepower. It's about guts and skill. Let's hope the Maverick can show a little bit of both.
Representing Team Now, we have the 2016 Ford Focus RS. At one time, the Ford Focus was the highest selling car in the whole world, and the RS model was one of the fastest. This car has a 2.3-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine cranking out 350 horsepower and the same amount of torque. And all that's channeled through an all-wheel drive system with launch control to help keep all that power on the road. And it worked because this car consistently gets a 0 to 60 time in the mid-4-second range.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Looks like the officials have cleared the track. Let's get race 8 started.
In lane 1, it's the 1971 Ford Maverick. And in lane 2, it's the 2016 Ford Focus RS.
3, 2, 1, go!
They're even.
Focus goes for the block.
He loses it.
But he recovers and wins.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
They both get off the line nice and evenly.
But every racer at the Scrapyard knows the transition is the trickiest and most dangerous part. And that's where the Focus decides to block.
But that Maverick outweighs the Focus by a bit, so he swats him off like a fly at a picnic.
But as luck would have it, the Focus was able to use his collision with the opposite wall to his advantage.
Yeah, he was able to straighten out right before the line and win.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
With that fortunate recovery, the Focus was able to put the first win on the scorecard for race 8. Sadly, this is the point where things start to look impossible for Team Then.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
We're back at the gate for what very well could be the last decisive heat of round 1.
Well, if the HT win in the last race did raise the team morale at all, the time to cash in on it is now. It's do or die time for that Maverick and Team Then.
That driver must be feeling an enormous amount of pressure.
Looks like the officials have cleared the track. Oh man, this is so tense.
In lane 1, it's the 2016 Ford Focus RS, and in lane 2, it's the 1971 Ford Maverick. Good luck to both racers.
3, 2, 1, go!
Maverick in the lead.
Focus goes for the pit.
He misses.
The Maverick wins. He's still alive.
I don't believe it. No more talking. Replay now.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
The Maverick was hard on the pedal as soon as that gate goes up. His reaction was flawless.
And even though he has 125 horsepower less than the RS, he was able to keep half a car length lead on the downhill.
And while trailing behind in a last-ditch effort, the RS tries a sliding pit maneuver.
Yeah, but the only thing he manages to hit is the wall, and it cost him.
Meanwhile, the Maverick, again with a heart surgeon's level of concentration, keeps his eye on the finish line and doesn't even flinch. What a performance.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
With that win, the Maverick not only put a win on the scorecard, but he's just given a life-saving jolt to his and Team Then's dream of winning this tournament.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
This is it. The final heat of the final race.
Well,
what?
Well, there could be a double DNF, and we'd be forced to do a restart.
I stand corrected. This could be it. Perhaps the final heat of the final race.
For what could be the last time, we have the Maverick in lane 1 and the Focus in lane 2.
3, 2, 1, go!
They're neck and neck. The Maverick blocks.
He hits the wall and wins! It's inconceivable! The upset no one saw coming!
Unbelievable! The Maverick has single-handedly kept Team Then in the competition.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
It seems like the RS was going to stay wide and clear of that Maverick and use the all-wheel drive and horsepower advantage to try to win.
Yeah, but all the launch control in the world couldn't help him predict that the underpowered Maverick was going to try and block.
What a genius move, because once he was in front of the RS's extra horsepower, it actually helped push the Maverick down the track.
And then the Maverick goes for some crazy pinball type of block I've never seen before. It sends the RS flying backwards and himself across the line. That does it. From now on, this crazy move will be called the Maverick.
For once I agree, a win of this magnitude deserves to be commemorated. The Maverick it is.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Well, race fans, what can only be described as one of the greatest comebacks in Scrapyard history the Maverick manages to come back from a deficit, win, and keep his whole team in the competition. It seems the HT's win in the last race was what Team Then needed to regroup and come back with a vengeance.
The Maverick moves on to what is arguably the most well-deserved spot in the quarterfinals. Plus, he scored the last team point of the tournament, so even though Team Then is currently trailing Team Now 2-6, the Maverick just gave Team Then a window just big enough to where they could still win it all.
Wow! Was that just about the most exciting racing you've ever seen or what? Round 1 is all done. We have all our spots filled for the quarterfinal. Plus, astonishingly, Team Then has kept themselves alive in the team tournament round.
I'm sorry, fans. I know after that last race the intensity is so thick you could cut it with a knife, but I'm afraid I have some horrible, tragic news.
What? What is it?
We just got word from the studio that the driver of the 69 Camaro SS didn't make it.
No!
Yes, unfortunately. And it looks like all the drivers have already made their way onto the track to pay some small bit of tribute.
Wow! Both teams are there! Even last year's winner, the Monte Carlo, is out there!
Yes, it's in moments like this when we get to see just how tight-knit of a group the diecast community is. Bitter, heated rivals, maybe even enemies whenever they're on the track. But off it, they're a family.
But they're literally on the track right now.
Oh, it's a figure of speech.
Hey, is that the Impala out there? And has it already been stripped out for parts?
Well, yes, he did need to cover his entry fee and towing charges after he totaled his car. This is a fully functional junkyard after all. But regardless, he wanted his car on the track one final time to pay respect to a fellow fallen racer.
Sad. It's so sad.
Wow, you're taking this really hard. Did you get a chance to know the Camaro driver before the tournament?
No, I never met him. It's just his accident was on the street. And in my heart, I know if he would have made it past, if he would have just made it past the line, the safety rocks would have saved him. The safety rocks.
Oh my goodness. Even now? Anyway, fans, we were going to take the standard time off to prepare for the quarterfinals, but in lieu of the current heartbreaking situation, we'll be taking a small break to give Team Then the time they need to pay their final respects, mourn, and get their heads and hearts back in the game. So from all of us here at the Scrapyard, thank you, and please race safe out there.
Surround yourselves with safety rocks.
No. Don't listen to him. He has no idea what he's talking about. Thank you for watching, and please follow us on Instagram and Facebook for details on when we'll be back.